Hi everyone. Welcome back. It's been a week or week and a half, something like that. Been working on stuff. We'll get to that. Not this animation. It's exactly as I left it. Someday I'm going to improve it, fix it, make it look like the original. But not right now. Right now, I just want to get something. Honestly, I'd be happy just to get the T-pose into the game. So, I do want to go over a bit one of the challenges. I want to go and I want to export this in a format that can be imported. So I have here a list of options that Blender can export to. And I have here a list of options that Away 3D can import. And like, I'm sticking with this because I really don't want to figure out how to do something of my own. So the thing is, what I had been using was 3dmax.3ds, the file format for it. Like, I have never owned or installed 3D Max, but their format worked, so that was cool. But it's no longer in this menu because they've switched to this new FBX format, and I think maybe X3D as well. So the old format is being left behind. So I have to find something else that works. A long time back, I tried to use Collada because it's an open source format and that sounds cool, but it just crashed whenever I tried to load a thing. ABC is not an option. That's USD is not on the list. BVH, this isn't motion capture, so I don't think it would have all the data that we want. .ply is not on the list. STL is not on the list. FBX is too new. GLB is not on the list. OBJ is in the list, but and has worked with some success before. But it is a very simple format that does not include any animation data, and X3D is not on the list. So, my options are Collada or go back to an old version of Blender that is capable of exporting 3ds. Fortunately, someone else went into it and fixed most of the issues, so I was actually able to get Collada working with only the smallest of fixes that I have submitted for. Hopefully, in the future, Away 3D will include my fix when loading a skeleton that Blender exported. It didn't work. Now it should. Anyway, so with that, I compile and run. And there's a problem. I don't see the runner. I move the camera around and I still don't see the runner. Well, that actually, I took a wild guess, and that turned out to be an issue of textures. The textures aren't loading and the runner is completely black. So we're going to be using a white background for today. We're actually, well, not even that. We are going to try and get materials to work. So, oh right, another thing. Another issue that I was and kind of am worried about is just that this model is broken up into 50 different, well, not 50, but a good 10 different pieces. And so I will have to deal with that somehow. The ideal way to deal with it is there at the top, this runner object contains everything else. It's the parent for everything else. And if that information is preserved, then we should just be able to load the runner object and add that to the scene and have everything else load, which is in fact what I did, which is why you saw all like body and arms and everything else. Yeah, we load the thing that matches the name, which is runner. So this piece does have to match the name of the file. And, oh right, the reason I was going over that is because I want to create a color material with a better value. Though actually, forget if it's exactly the right color. I am going to have to go look at the colors. But I am using this color for now, and so yeah, I want to CCC. Unfortunately, I can't get that to highlight, but I can get this to highlight with the right color. I don't know, is it? Maybe it's... Actually, maybe it is B. B is a little bit darker. We're going to try that. In any case, we have a color material, and we want to apply that to not just the object at the top, which doesn't actually, which is on its own invisible, but to all the pieces inside the. And right now, we're not too worried about the separating out the antenna and the outlines and everything else. We just want to get a color that isn't pitch black. And so I have a function that just goes through... okay, within the runner we have antenna, arm, body, eye, and nested within that we have a couple other things, so it goes through each of these and then goes through everything inside, and it applies material. And no, it didn't do anything. And this, I eventually discovered, was because Away3D does something annoying. So each of these distinct objects are a mesh. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, now that I think about it, maybe I want to not do that, but we'll get to that. Currently, they're all a mesh, and each mesh has a little bit of geometry. So the mesh is the object, the geometry is all these vertices inside. They're like, the geometry is the big important thing of the mesh. Like mesh consists of two things: geometry, which is this, and material, which is the color. So we have the right geometry, we want to keep that, we want to apply new material. We want to say mesh.material equals material to copy it over. But it also generates the submesh object for each geometry. There's only one geometry, but it generates a submesh anyway. I don't really know why it does this, but it does. And it turns out that I have to... it's not enough to update the material. You gotta update the submesh material. I honestly don't think this is even necessary as long as you do this. Because as you can see, we now have a single solid color, which is not great, but I was unable to fix that. So we can now go back to a dark background and be able to see the model. So I've not been showing it too heavily, but now we get to the next step. The model is broken. Kind of, at least partially. The inner part of each arm is in the right spot. The outlines are completely in the wrong spot, and I think that bit there is supposed to be at the end of the antenna. So something is very wrong. Oh, and the antenna are inside out. I thought I fixed that. I really did think I fixed that. Yeah, ideally it wouldn't all be the same color, but I just got started on fixing that, and I will have to look up some stuff to actually figure it out. So I don't think I'm doing that on stream today, and we're just going to stick with the single color. Oh, right, and she's lying on her back because of directions. Like, whoops. If we choose to export, actually, please bear with me a second. Okay. Yeah, okay. So our export window looks like this. We can choose location, we can export. We don't have... Oh, we do. Okay, so the problem here is that our global orientation in Blender, let's actually go cancel, is Z up. The Z-axis is upwards. The Y-axis is backwards. At least that's how she's facing. So yeah, the Y-axis is this green thing. Here's the Y-axis. Here's the Z-axis. And the X-axis is fine. Now the thing is, in game, the Z-axis is forward, while the Y-axis is up, and I kind of figure that makes the most sense on account of, in a 2D game, this is Y and Z, Y is up and down, this is Y and X, Y is up and down, X is side to side, and then we're adding a third dimension. The third dimension is the Z-axis, and so that's like into and out of the screen, right? Well, apparently Blender disagrees, some other applications disagree. I really don't know why they do it that way. But it's way too late to change for Blender. So the trick is to rotate it 90 degrees as you export. So we're going to go export. Include animate. Yeah. Oh, yay. It does do. Okay, so that's a question I was wondering about later. I have. We go into the animation view. I have a run animation, I have a jump animation, and I have a T-pose animation. And even with like run selected, I want to be able to export the other two because I want all that data. And it turns out Blender does that. So yay. As long as I have that box checked, which I do by default. Sample keys are... I have no idea what that means, so we won't touch it. Interesting. So what I want is a Y up, Z forward export. Why don't we try checking that box and see if that makes a difference? Sure. And with that, once I go and move stuff into place, I exported it into the wrong folder, and I will just copy it to the right place. So I need to put it... replace the old one with the new one. And see if it actually makes a difference. It kind of does, okay. So now everything is wrong, but in a different way, and at least its up is sort of up. So I think the main difference here is I checked that one box. The rotate the root object. Man, none of this is... You know, what if I didn't try and fight it? What if I exported Y forward, Z up? Actually, it's negative Y forward is how we've got it. And what if we export that? And load that in. We end up with the exact same thing we had before. I mean, okay. I'm honestly... yeah, I mean, we'll do that. And copy it over. So, yeah, now the next trick will be to get everything actually into place. I don't know. I guess my first question is why... actually, we're going to do something. We are going to space out every single piece. Oh. Oh, great. I forgot that that was going to do that. We're going to space them out this way to see what order they get loaded in. Interesting. Well, there's a bunch of invisible stuff right here. Because they're supposed to be spaced out in even intervals. So it's not actually trying to apply the animation at all. It just... Okay, next question. What if we go into the T-pose and export it like that? Export... do we have all our settings? Z forward, Y up. Okay, export. What if we export the T-pose? It didn't matter. Okay, so I do want to know... So, here's some code for loading stuff. I want to get information only about stuff that's related to the runner. There's more that's loaded, specifically tiles. But if this thing is related to the runner, I want to know if it's being rotated, or if it's, when it's loaded, is it rotated? Give information about X, Y, and Z. No, it doesn't think that anything is rotated. 0, 0, 0 rotation all across the board. Okay, I want to know if it has a location. Because, I mean, I'm spreading them out, but they are already positioned incorrectly. And no, it doesn't think that they do. Okay, so about this. Oh wait, I can't quite do that. Yeah, no, my first idea won't work. Well, I mean, just to double check, these should not have any animations. The animator on every single mesh, it should always be null. It is. There's no null. There's no animator. The animator is what would pose the model. So, you know what I'm... going to stop spreading them out. We'll just look at how it loads. Okay, so I also notice absolutely everything here. Wait, no, that's not true. Almost everything here is inside out, except I think the things that are supposed to be inside out. I mean, that's a thing to fix if I can. Can I export with flipped normals? I assume that would be under... Apply modifiers to exported mesh. No. Because those aren't going to translate. Options. I would have to... if I do that, it's going to display incorrectly in Blender, but then I can, when I copy it over and undo, when I copy it over, it's going to at least make things go the right way out. So, yeah, the difference you can see here is that the smaller pieces are now like, not visible from the inside, but are visible from the outside. And these are only visible from the inside, so you're actually seeing the backside of it. Which you can't really tell because they aren't aligned properly. Oh, and the antenna. Whoops. This antenna down here. You now see the side that's close to you as opposed to the side that's far. Little thing, but it will matter. I really do wish I had a good way to do vertex colors. Ooh, I know. This is a quick way. Also may as well. We're going to have an outline material, so a separate color. And that, I should have colored things the correct color, and I did not. Okay, what am I doing wrong here? Body. So it should have the word outline. Oops. Well, it should have done it. Yeah, we have names. We're looking at names like eye, pupil, body outline. So I'm going through and I'm finding the ones body outline, arm outline, leg outline, antenna stem, and antenna tip outline, and I'm trying to color them a different color, and it's not working. Because it's a little hard to see them like this. I will go back to spacing them out. And also, we're going to do a, I don't know. We're going to do a sky bluish background. Sure, it would be convenient if these were outlined right now to stand out against the sky, but it's apparently not happening. These should not be so close together. Clearly what's happening is one of them is being pushed, like the body, I think this is the outline, is being pushed this direction, and the leg outlines are being pushed back, so that like they each have their respective space, but they're moving towards each other from the, instead of staying in the center of that space. What's up with that? I do need that. Anyway. Oh, of course. I am doing the same thing as before. I am editing only the meshes material and not the submeshes material, when in fact it's only the submesh that matters. Okay, so antenna are the correct ones. So yeah, the outline is just a larger object than the regular one, and it's, if they stack up, then it will outline. And honestly, these might stack up if I didn't space them out. They're pretty close. Let's put them at the very start. Oh, well, that's kind of neat. These stack up perfectly. That's exactly how I want them to look. These should have the same z coordinate. Z is currently side to side. I explicitly set them to the same z coordinates, and they're not. So let's put that aside for a moment, but keep it open. And we're going to go take a look at the exported source data. There is a lot of data. So I want to find antenna stem. Okay. This transformation matrix does not move it at all. Cool. Antenna tipped is not moved at all. So this, I don't know what a bind shape matrix is. Is that what's moving it? Poses. Yeah, poses are important for animations. Weights are very important for animations. Joints. Don't know about joints. Weights. More weights. I want to find the vertex data. Oh wait, are we on? Huh. There are literally no results up here. Oh, right. Okay. It's because I didn't name the the actual vertex data. Okay, so the antenna is cylinder 1. Mesh positions array. I don't know, these z-coordinates... these z-coordinates are not that high. Actually, maybe these are correct and the antenna tips are wrong. So we're looking for that data. Z-coordinates are still very low. Normals, I don't care about normals. Mesh map, are these UVs? I don't know what these are. S and T. Huh, that's weird. I don't know what that means. Colors. Colors are important. Okay, so 0.2. 1/5. Okay, I'm not 100% sure which color that is, but it's pretty close to what I've got. Like, it's probably close to what the color I've got there. And the important thing is that if I knew how to write the shader, I could just load these colors and use that data. Because Honestly, we have a lot of data here, and it's a shame not to be using it. Even if it's all the same data repeated endlessly. More stuff about colors. Nope, none of that was the information I wanted. I mean, in theory. So, what I'm trying to find here, I have information about positions. And I have a suspicion that the positions are wrong on account of the positions being wrong. These should be a lot more lined up than they currently are. They should at least be lined up in this direction, if nothing else, and they're not. And that's the z-axis, so they're z-coordinates, 1, 2, 3. Third coordinate is z. Well, that's 0. 1, 2, 3. Well, that's a number that's very close to 0. So 1, 2, 3, that's still a number that's very close to 0. None of these numbers are very far removed from 0. And a lot of them are 0. Yeah, this is literally a z-coordinate at 0. And we've observed the same thing on I think it was this one. Positions for a cylindrical object. Our third coordinate here, it's 0. Our third coordinate here, it's very close to 0. Well, oh no, this wasn't 0. It's just very close. Same with this. Same with that. These are all really close to 0. Though we should see, these go up and down, we should see y-coordinates that get farther removed. So down to the bottom of this, z-coordinate still close to 0. Y-coordinate is a little farther from 0. X-coordinate is farther from 0? What? The x-coordinate should not be that far from 0. Okay, I don't know why it's doing that. I mean, let's look at some coordinates in somewhere where we can actually visualize it. X-coordinate, low, y-coordinate. So y here is equivalent to z. Wait, yeah. Y-coordinate in Blender is side to side. So up here we have a high z-coordinate, which should become a high y-coordinate in our data. If we combine those, do they add up to... we're going to do some Pythagorean theorem right now. Got a calculator, got these two numbers. Squared plus that squared, take the square root of the whole thing, and it's not a high enough number. We're expecting 0.7, and we're not getting 0.7. Okay, I don't know what to make of that. But it's apparently not the positions alone that's the problem. Even though these positions are not the numbers I expect. I expect 0.70323. Oh, hey. That might do it? Wait a minute, these are global coordinates. Let's look at local. Oh. Oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense. Okay. Yeah, so what's going on? We're here at the end, we're finding values of 0.3 and minus 0.3, something like that. Is that right? 0.3, 0.3. Well, I guess positive and minuses can be flipped when exporting. But yeah, we're finding roughly the correct values now that I'm looking at the correct coordinates. Okay, so my main complaint is this object, this cylinder that is now 2 cylinders, should have coordinates. Should have an x-coordinate of 0.16, because what we have here are things that are located relative to, you see this little orange dot? That is the start point for the antenna. And I could, like, ideally I would center that, but it's not really worth the trouble at the moment. It's off-center, whatever. It represents where this antenna object is located. And it's also kind of the rotation point for that object. But this whole object containing all this geometry highlighted in orange starts here. And it doesn't start at 0. If it, like if I move the object to 0, 0, 0, then, well, it's in the body. It's in the wrong spot. So this object should start at coordinates that are not at the center. And the thing is, when I take a look, yeah, we're just going to, I'm going to print out the x, y, and z coordinates, and it, oh, I already messed with the z coordinates. Ignore that. We're going to print out the untampered z, x, y, and z coordinates. And it's a 0, 0, 0, supposedly. But it really shouldn't be, because it's supposed to be, that isn't even 0, 0, 0, but it's supposed to be up here. So it's just in the wrong spot. I really don't know why. You know what? Next step. I forget the exact color. Too bright. Too dark. Too light. Okay, I'm going to pull the exact values. Starting up Krita so I can get my official palette. And I will just leave this off to the side later. Okay, so our pupil color is that. That's not the pupil color, that's the eye color. Our pupil is that. Our outline color is already correct. And the body color is way too bright. Okay. Yeah, may as well get that done with. There you can tell that the leg outline is inverted because you can see the body through it. Yep, and it still thinks that everything is at 0, 0, 0, which really, really isn't. Or shouldn't be. Okay, I'm going to print out a little more information. How much space does it think each mesh takes up? Aha! Okay, so let's... it thinks the body is centered. Oh, it thinks the body is centered, which seems about right. Of all the things to be central, that would be the one. It thinks the eye is a little bit in the negative direction, which it is. The negative direction is over here. And the eye is a little bit in that direction. The pupil is close to center, so whatever. It thinks the antenna stem is in the negative direction, which it absolutely is. In fact, it's pretty much the furthest thing over here. I mean, that's good to know, but why is it there if its coordinates never get beyond 0.0 something, 0.014012, yeah. Its coordinates are not nearly... it ends up at negative 0.4, but its coordinates are like a tenth of that, a 20th, a 40th. Its coordinates do not explain that. Okay, a submesh does not have a z-coordinate, it looks like. Yeah. There's no such thing as a submesh having a z-coordinate. So, and the mesh doesn't have a z-coordinate. Okay, we're going to dump a whole lot of data and compare it the hard way. We are just going to dump out all of this data and see if it has changed from... Oh, I can already see that it's changed. Yeah, that's a different z coordinate right there. So my next question is, on what basis is it changed? What right does the parser have to modify that data? I liked it how it was. Mesh positions. I bet this is it. 0.39 seems like about the number that's been added or subtracted. If we change that to 0 and we change that to 0, do we get a perfect identity matrix? It looks like it, yeah. So if we delete that, then the antennae are inside, and we can't see it. Okay, so what kind of matrix is this? I want to... I want to organize it. Okay, looking at this, we can see that the two values that are out of place are an x-coordinate and a z-coordinate. So if I really wanted, I could give it an x-coordinate, like a y-coordinate of 3, push it up. Couldn't I? Did I push? I pushed it down. These are backwards. Well, that's annoying. I wonder. What if I just set those negative? Oh, right. I already know what would happen. It would just be the opposite position of where it was. Okay, question. Are these numbers at all related to the numbers that I'm expecting? 0.016, 0.039. Sorry, not 0.1, 0.1, 0.16, 0.39, 0.16, 0.39. They are okay, so what's going on is that the wrong direction? Okay. So I think that gives me the information I need to put this stuff in order. I want to copy and paste that. So that I can make this a number that small. E minus 8 means multiply by 10 to the minus 8. It's essentially 0. So for simplicity, we're going to make it 0. That goes over there. And I forget, is it negative? It's not. It's not negative. Oh, well, that's why the body is not messed up. Okay, so if I go through by hand and I manually fix everything, then it will work. But it's not a sustainable solution. But I want to do it just to prove that it works. Or see if it doesn't. Oh. So what that means is the mouth object, which it's not there. I rotated it and scaled it. Okay. For future reference, that will make the conversion process easier to handle. 1, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. So I guess swap these numbers and hope that everything else is fine. Oh no, are the legs the same way? They are. Hang on, before I do that, too much of that. Give me that. Okay, making this change does not destroy the animations. Good. So I can go and apply the object transform everything and just put the basically moves the little orange dot to the exact center for everything, as opposed to being off in a really weird location in some cases. Okay. One, two, three, four. So yeah, the problem is that when I told it to export in a different direction, it didn't actually swap everything around properly. It only swapped some data? Not sure why. Okay. Time to at least take a look and see if more objects are in the right position. Oh wow, that is a resounding no. Almost everything is worse. You know what? I may actually have made this unnecessary. We are going to... Yes, I made it pretty much unnecessary. Yeah, all of that weirdness was on account of these, you know, the orange circle that's the start point for every object not being at 0. So I put it at 0, and it's able to import this geometry properly. It's just not... Why is that down there? Is it the... Oh! Huh, our T-pose is now a little broken. I want the T-pose to exactly match the rest position, so let's quickly go and fix that. Look at that. The arm is just a bit off. Okay, we're going to fix that too. Pose. I guess if that's going to get messed up, we will try and lock it. Oh, we did lock it. For everything. Aha, that's why. Just going to lock every single value so that nothing ever messes up the T-pose again. Okay, locked. And let's just do a quick extra export. Oh wait, we're not done yet, because the other problem you may have noticed is you can't see any of the texture, and looked like this. And that's because of normal flipping and hang on. I may have figured out a way to fix multiple things at once. The whole being upside down thing, as well as the not being able to see the outlines. Yes, okay. Yeah, so basically, at some point in the process, the entire model got flipped inside out, and along with that, the normals got flipped. And the model was upside down. And so what I've done here, -1, -1, -1, since it, whoops. Oh, I want to select that. Okay. And actually, I can really easily show you. Pose mode. If I just grab that and okay, no, that's not it. Object mode. Well, that's kind of it. But Blender is smarter about normals, it seems. So anyway, yeah, when you flip everything backwards, this is what happens. You're upside down. And in Away 3D, it also inverts the normals, which means you can't see through the outlines. Anyway. I think I fixed it. No, wait, I think I didn't export it, so... right, I need to go export. Replace. Yep. Okay, fine. For the time being, we will just do that. We should have been able to just do that. Oh, we probably could have. The catch is I forgot the color. With the color, we can see the mouth. Okay, so yeah, what we have here is the thing I spent a lot of time working on avoiding. In Blender, I use a modifier to cut out, because the body is just a simple shape, and the outline, the reason you can see the leg outline here is because you're seeing the very end of this object, way up there. It becomes visible because the body is not rendered in the way so that you can see the outline if you need to. But without that, you just see the body from this angle. It's gonna take some time to fix. I'm gonna need to write a custom shader. At least I'm pretty sure I need to. Yeah. I'm currently trying to think of how the shader would even work. It's complicated. Think the key is going to be do I need to do multiple passes? I hope not. Well, that is definitely a thing to figure out later. For now, we have to deal with that. Oh, still backwards, though. That's annoying. Yeah, first... I would like some animations. And to that... for that reason, I have loaded up a sample project where it has... Oh no, what did I... Why is that not working? Okay, please hang on while I go and rescue this. No? Did I delete an important... I'm pretty sure I didn't edit any of these. And it was working earlier today, which is the worst and weirdest part. Okay, I'm going to copy paste all of this. Replace, 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 replace. Oh, it's because I pressed the arrow key before it loaded. Well programmed. Okay, so yeah, in this sample project you have a thing walking around. They also play with the lights, but mostly that just makes it hard to see. I wonder if that's a model from something, but I don't know. Yeah, so the important thing to me is to figure out, well, first how to load animations. So we have a skeleton clip node. Time-based animation data. Frames, neat. So basically what's going on here is kind of like what you might see in Blender. Looking at the timeline here, various frames have specific values, so each of these frames marked by a circle defines a new pose, and then the animation happens just because you well, everything moves between those poses from starting point to ending point, and it just smoothly moves. So in theory, we have a set of animations like this. But they are not named. That's annoying. I've got animations, run, jump, T-pose. And as for finding run, we'd better search for the whole word. It's not there. They did not include the animation names. It's not great. We do have a couple animations, though. And by a couple, I mean way too many. At least... I thought we did. The reason I thought we did is because I looked up every time a piece is loaded, I got some data about it, and what we end up getting is a separate animation for every single piece of the body. There we go. Printing out some data here. Or not. Oh, that's why. Okay. Fair enough. So we have a scene. We have the overall runner with a skeleton and animation node. The eye has an animation set, a skeleton, and an animation node. The pupil has animation, skeleton, animation node. Which is inconvenient because if we go over here, we find that they do expect several animation nodes, but they only expect one animation set. Like, the whole thing is just one animation set, and therefore they can have only one animator. And so that's my next problem with this, is that apparently each piece has its own separate animator. Animation set. Okay, I want all this information available. Yeah, they call it a skeleton instead of an armature. Even more information. They call these single joint and skeleton object. I don't know, maybe this is what they call a bone. I think it must be. I want to know. Do we have names for this data? We do. Excellent. Okay, so I can now see what's going on. This is actually not the data we need. What we have here is information from when bones are assigned. We're close mode. Okay, so if we go in here, we find that several bones have been assigned to this data, specifically the arm-related bones. Shoulder, arm 0 through 3. Shoulder, arm 0 through 3. And over here we find shoulder, arm 0 through 3. Both shoulders, both arms. And we have those repeated because there are actually two objects that use that arm-related information. The outline is a separate object from the main arm itself. And they both use information about the arms, so we see both of these things twice. All of these twice. Body and the body outline both use that. The eye and the pupil actually only use one bone each, quote unquote. I guess in the legs. Yeah, so there's only one mouth. There's a lot of pieces to the mouth to be able to make lots of different facial expressions. But only one object uses them, so each of those only shows up once. The thing is, there are actually there are a couple bones that are not actually used anywhere. They don't show up. So let me go and find one to show you what I mean. The antenna base does not end up getting used because its only purpose is to move the pieces of the antenna that actually control the antenna. So right antenna base. Let's do a Control F for that. Okay, that information did make it into the file. But it did not make it into this skeleton object. Okay, right, so I do want to look. We have animation sets, we have skeletons, we have animation nodes. So what information is stored in there? Skeleton pose. Well, I actually don't need to decode that because one thing I do need to talk about is does not actually require figuring that out. So the thing here is I don't want 50 animations. Like the way it's currently set up, I think I might need a separate animator driving every single object here. An animator for the arm, an animator for the arm outline, an animator for the body, an animator for the body outline, an animator for the antenna tip outlines, the antenna tip, the stem, just a separate animator for each of them. And there is like, it's avoidable, but there is a chance for all of these animators to get out of sync, and then like the arm outline is over up there, while the arm itself is back here. That's not great. I don't really see a way around that as is, given all of this data being split up. So, like, one thought I'm having is, can I just merge all these objects? And the answer is no, not quite. If I were to merge all the objects, then Blender would be unable to tell that this object should cut through the other one. And I might still be able to program it, but it might be harder too. I think for now, well, actually, we're going to save a copy. Okay, we're going to save a copy, and then we're going to maybe break this down. Let's head back over to T-pose. T-pose. And then we figure out how to merge. Yeah, honestly, for now, there is no direct merge image, merge objects thing. So first, copy you know what, I am going to look up how I'm supposed to do this rather than trying to guess. Join. Join. What's that do? Okay, so far. Join. That broke the modifier, but it's broken in game too. So now the trick is excellent. It did import the vertex groups that were needed. I do want to move that to the top, just for organizational purposes. Take that and join. Okay, so the order matters. Join. Oops, that's out of order. Whoops. I pressed the wrong button and deleted stuff. Okay, we need that. Oh, I know. Nope. Vertex paint. Oh, no. Yeah, I'm having a hard time fixing just the mouth. And like if I paint, it's going to paint too much. Or not? Don't know what to make of that. Okay, somehow I did that. Success. I don't know why that got messed up in the first place. Oh, okay. I have finally started to figure out how to do this. I just have to click that and I can select vertices for better control. And now the moment of truth. Did I break everything? I did. Look at how much I broke. Unless... Oh, wait, no. I didn't break it. I just deselected it. Okay, so... what happened here is I turned 10, 20 objects into a single object. Which I will name geometry, I guess. Without breaking the animations, that said, I will head back to T-pose. And what this will do, it does break that, but I may be able to fix it, although I'm not sure. It'll be a little harder to fix in Blender, but it'll be hopefully the same difficulty in a way 3D. Probably between streams I will try and get that rendering. But I can export that and replace that. Well, I guess I will print out all this data. So now what we have is we have a single copy of each thing as opposed to multiple copies, because it's all one. Oh, and we are back to this because it's all a single object. And I was applying different colors based on different objects having different names. That no longer exists. I destroyed all that data. And it's still supposed to work because each vertex has data about which color it's supposed to be. I'm just not using that data. So it's a much shorter file, too. 600 lines as opposed to thousands. Yeah. All that data is a single object. I believe these are colors. Colors. And a whole lot of them are that. And a bunch of them are that. With alpha? Is that, am I reading that right? And then a bunch of them are that with 0.8 alpha. I did not realize I was using alpha. Anyway, I don't need to look at this data much. I will just assume it's all correct. Actions. so here are the bones. They're called nodes. So many names for the same thing. Yeah, we're not ever going to use that. I'm still brainstorming ways for how to make this work. Yeah, so my thought here is I'm going to all of the orange highlighted stuff that you can currently see. Why don't we look at it like that? All of the current orange highlighted space is going to be specially marked. And you're allowed to draw information behind it, but some specific other things that oh, wow, that is hard to look at. Okay, I think I found it. That. Now let's go and take that away so we can see again. Okay, so the thing about this triangle is that most of it is within the area that we had selected. And we're just... what's happening is we're going to mark pixels on the screen with specific instructions. Or specific values. And all of the pixels within this area are going to be marked. And this triangle is going to be marked as, don't draw it if it's in the marked region. And so only a tiny piece of the triangle is outside of the marked region, and so only a tiny piece of the triangle will be drawn. And so most of this will not be drawn, and you'll be able to see inside where there's outline and stuff. Let's bring that back. It's the idea, anyway. The trick is I need to guarantee that that happens in that order. And I'm not 100% certain I can do it like this. I might need to extract these specific vertices. The body, in particular, might need to be a separate object that is drawn second. To guarantee that all the necessary pixels have been marked beforehand. Though, well, it is more complicated than that, though, because, let's go back to that. Without the body, without the body, extra pixels will have been marked. All of these orange pixels will have been marked, and some of them are inside. So I need specific instructions. The markings will come with information about how far from the camera they are, so we can tell if we're drawing over and under. except wait, no, that's not true. That's not true at all. Oh dear, because it's backwards. Getting that cut out is complicated. I'm worried I might need to extract the body and not just the body, but also all of these outlines that I need to make work with the cutout, use for the cutout. Sheesh, that's complicated. But it's better than this. It's better than this. I will have to look into doing... can I mess with the depth test? Oops, wrong one. Depth test, depth range. Oh. Hang on. What does stencil backpath mean? Pass. Pass failed. Okay, that's promising. So the stencil buffer is sort of a buffer that I will be using just to mark pixels when I was talking about marking them. I realize that isn't clear. I will need to do diagrams or something someday. The important thing is that to make any of this work, I need information, and I need to be able to react to information. This outline is not, it's not drawn here because it's backwards, and it's only supposed to be drawn while facing forward, so the thing I have selected is drawn from here. You can see it, and it's not drawn from here. You can see what's inside. But I do need information about where it is, because this one, the fact that that one is there is going to mean you're supposed to be able to see the backside of the outline through it. You're not supposed to be able to see that triangle through. through that piece there. Still not easy to understand, but the fact that I can take... as for seeing things through things, that's depth. So we have stencil. We have stuff to do with stencil. We have stuff to do with depth. The depth buffer is a pretty clever invention that has to do with only draw stuff that's in front of other stuff. So if we do this, the depth buffer has been, well, it's still there, but you can see stuff that's behind other stuff. But the fact that you cannot see stuff that's behind other stuff, except in the specific cases where you are intended to with the outlines, but the fact that you can't see the antenna from here because they're behind the body, that's because of depth. The antennae are considered to have higher depth, right, when they're further from the camera. Because they're way over there. And instead, you find these triangles have lower depth. They're closer to the camera, and they get drawn. Whereas the antenna, I mean, it considers drawing them, but it doesn't. Except for on a pixel-by-pixel basis. So over here, these pixels, yeah, they have a high depth, they're far away, but there's nothing closer. These pixels, however, where I'm selecting, there is something closer, and so the depth buffer records that and says, don't draw the antenna on those pixels. And that's how you see only exactly what you're supposed to see. And it's how it figures out wait, really? Oh, I never realized that those were entirely separate. Maybe I should do something about that, but I'm not sure. Anyway, looking at the antenna, they go in and through. But they only start showing up the moment they reach the surface of the body. I'm not sure why I'm unable to select. Oh, I know. I don't know what to make of that. Anyway, the reason for that is because the depth buffer is on a pixel-by-pixel basis. One pixel, the antenna is closer. The next pixel, the body is closer. And it calculates that all the way around the edge of this antenna. So whichever... this kind of blew my mind a little as when I was getting into 3D stuff, where I was trying to draw it all myself without a depth buffer, and I'm like, I think this was how I did it up until run 2, in fact, that I was very, very careful about what order I drew things in, because I had no sense of... I just got to draw the whole thing, and then whatever's in front of it, And so if I tried to draw something like this, where where one object went through another, I would have just sort of drawn the entire object. Like I would have picked, I don't know, the antenna is currently closer to the camera. Draw that on top, and you would have been able to see all the way down there. And I didn't know how not to do that. So, like, run 2, what it was, first you draw all the blocks that are far from the camera. Then you draw the character, and then you draw all the blocks that are close to the camera. And because they were very simple block shapes, and you were never supposed to clip into them, there was not that much of an issue with it. But it would not have scaled, so I am glad I moved to something with a depth buffer, as well as like tons and tons of other features for Run 3. Right, why did I get to talking about this? Oh, okay, buffers. I do need I have a lot of there's a lot of important information about the depth buffer that I can get from the depth buffer, and the stencil buffer is kind of the same thing. On a pixel by pixel basis, I can leave myself notes, and so I kind of want to combine the two, get information about the depth that stuff is happening at, because I want to cut out only the section that is behind, no, that is currently highlighted orange. I won't be highlighting orange as my note to myself, but it's sort of like that. And the thing is, if we could cut out the section of the body that is currently highlighted orange, then behind it we would be able to see more outline, and it would look better. Or even better. From this angle, we would be, if we could cut out that section of the body, we would be able to see any outline at all. But the thing is, this orange section is defined based on the depth buffer. There would be more that would be orange if you weren't taking the depth buffer into account. So I kind of need to use several things in tandem in order to figure out exactly which pixels to cut. And so it is a little promising that that there is information, separate information for front and back pixels, because while I'm doing all of this, I need to not actually draw that. I don't want a dark... these pixels here, I don't want them to be dark. I don't want them to be that. You're supposed to be able to see the arm color inside. The main problem is I can't even update the depth buffer here to say that these have a specific... So even with more information to work with, I might need to split things up. Split these up into separate objects so that I can guarantee that first we go and draw these. And then we go and draw most of the stuff, including cutting like a hole so you can see the outline. Unfortunately, as tedious as explaining this on stream is, it would be even like way more tedious to actually do it. So I'm going to make no attempt to do it right now. And I'm not even going to attempt to look this up because the OpenGL documentation is really complicated. I have been simplifying as much as I can, and so imagine what the unsimplified version must be like. I guess I will compile once more and try and figure out what I can do on stream. And I think the thing I can do on stream, we still have no color. That's to be fixed off stream. What I'm going to do is try and do an animation. So now that we have reduced the number of things we need to worry about, we can hide Blender. I guess we don't need all of this. I can clean up a little bit. Wave 3D should really have come with an option to use. I mean, I guess I could do texture. Is it time to switch to texture? So Wave 3D supports that. But nah, not right now. What I want to do is we're going to wait for being fully loaded. When everything is fully loaded, we can start loading animation data. Make sure that a skeleton is being loaded. Okay, it is. It's got left antenna, and lots of data to go with. Okay, so we have a single skeleton, which is a lot more efficient than tons of them. Right, what happens when there are tons of them? It's randomized. So we expect to find multiple nodes. Is that right? We're expecting skeleton clip nodes, yes. Yeah, that's right. Wait, there's only one. Okay. So what is a clip node? Time-based animation data as individual skeleton poses. So I think that's the animation. I think we've loaded the animation. It has 2 poses. Which is a bit weird. Because a single pose is... Yeah, okay. Yeah, I will get to that later. Yeah, whatever. I don't know why there are 2 frames and not 1 or more. But we still have data to load. Right? Okay, what names of animations have we successfully loaded? None. There's no animation set. Okay, why don't we have an animation set? We have oh. Fair enough. It's located in a different spot. So we will load it from a different spot. We need to print out that. Yeah. So we have loaded node 0. Great, that's not at all informative. Okay, whatever. We've loaded animation at node 0. Okay, so I think what we do... Wait. Okay. Oops. Currently not moving. Is it because I forgot to play the animation? So I think what we have is the T-pose animation, and it is messing stuff up for some reason. Okay, so we have data here about I'm not sure. Are these the initial positions? And if so, where is the animation data? I know Blender says it exported the animations, but I don't believe it. At most, it exported the T-pose. So we're going to try exporting a different animation. The new file is significantly larger, as if it had an animation inside. Okay. We will see if we have successfully loaded any more information. No, it does not look like it. Okay, but way over here, there is animation, or there is information. Animation exists. Interpolation is happening. So we included one animation in the output. And I mean, I guess that's all I absolutely need. But I really would have been a lot happier if all these actions had actually been included. Which they didn't. They weren't. Yeah, I'm not actually learning anything from staring at this. Okay, I think the thing to potentially be learned is if we find the beginning or end. Okay, I went too far. Animations, okay. So at the end of this is the end of the animations. So there really is only a single animation included. And it has a lot of data. Okay, so how about input out? Relation. I don't actually, well, I don't want to count these, but I can, 2, 3, 13 across, 6 down, 78, 79, 80, 89, is that right? I guess it must be. Count equals 89. Is that because there are 89 frames in the animation? These are times. 0.04, 0.08, 0.125. Is this an 89 frame animation? No, it's 32 frame animation. Then why are there 89 of something? It's not even a multiple of 32. 3.7. Does not take 3.7 seconds. But it claims to be time anyway. I'm just trying to think, is there any way I can get anything to happen on stream for you to watch? Because otherwise, I am just going to call it. Maybe. If I play this, something will happen. It will not. I will almost guarantee it's not the right thing. Nope, never mind. It's exactly the same as it was. Or about the same? Whatever. It is stuck in a single position. Oh, right. Am I... Node. Oh! Look at that. Add an animation or two. Make it loop. Give that a shot. And it crashes. Name already exists. Okay, fair enough. It tried to set up the animation for me. Great, but... I don't know. Maybe it's... Yeah, no. Trying to animate it breaks it. I guess we will take that off. Flip back upside down. Does that break it less? No. Worth a shot, at least. Yeah. Like, unless there is something I have missed here, I'm not... I am afraid I will not be making this work on stream. Unless... I should update this. Before I do that, I will attempt to just manually... Yep, nope, that didn't help. Well, some progress has been made. But not as much as I had hoped. This is a little frustrating. I mean, if it was just the fancy stuff I was trying to do, that would be fine. I asked for it. But, no, this is two programs not quite doing what I want out of them. Blender does not export all the animations, and Away3D does not play them. It does not play the one animation that does get exported. Hopefully I can fix at least the latter, if not both of those. But it will be off stream. Yeah, I'm really not seeing anything else to be done on stream. So, I will see you all later.